Welcome everybody to Central Valley today. So great for you to join us. I'm Stephanie Bainham. Thank you for your time. We're going to start today's show with something that nobody likes to talk about. Your significant other cheating on you. But let's face it, it can happen. And if you have some suspicions, we've got the man who can give you the answers that you need and want. Joining us now, please welcome Michael Braa. He's the owner of Atlantis Private Investigations. Michael, always great to see you.
Well, thank you for having me back, Stephanie. It's good to see you too.
And for folks who haven't tuned in before, we've talked about lots of subjects where you would hire a PI.
Sure.
But I do think a lot of people think PI when they think cheating spouse.
The cheating page on my website is actually the most visited by a long shot on all the pages on there.
Yeah, but we do want to mention you have great services that you do, and we've talked about those. But today's focus is on a cheating spouse.
Correct.
So what is the call? What are the calls that you get?
Well, when we talk about cheating, we talk about two different, at least from my perspective, there's two different things. There's the classic infidelity case where you have a spouse or a partner who is seeing somebody else, and that typically is the traditional definition of cheater. But we've also seen a rise in cases that turn out really not to be infidelity, but happen to be more sex addiction cases. I, in my mind, like to categorize them as one being emotional cheating, where the other is more like physical cheating.
Wow, that is a good thing to break it down like that. I can see that. And so how, I mean, I believe in women's intuition, but I know women can cheat too, so men's intuition, whatever. But you want to call it, but what are the signs that we should be looking for?
I'm glad you brought up women and men. I've read, I usually do prep for these things and I try to get statistics to bring them in and talk to you about. Statistically speaking, 85% of the time, women are correct when they think someone's cheating on them.
Wow, 85%?
85% of the time.
Wow.
65% of the time, it's going to be the man who thinks someone's cheating and being correct on it. So women have a better intuition. But there are some signs that we look through. I had a graphic put up just a few minutes ago. I call it, the dirty half dozen. Those are kind of the most important things. And some of them are obvious, like lack of intimacy with your partner. Some of them maybe not, but I want to point out a couple of them. The change in phone habits. When a partner starts to hide the phone, putting a code on there that wasn't there before, walking off into another room to use it, that can be a flag that you need to pay attention to. And of course, we're looking for changes in behavior. If they've always been like that, maybe not, but if there's a change in behavior, those are the things we want to look for. Another thing really common with the infidelity cases are the obsession with their personal appearance.
Yeah.
They're going to the gym.
Yes, they lose weight.
Exactly. They change their clothes, they change their hair. They're going back to those habits they had when they were dating and not when they were in a relationship. As far as I brought up sex addiction because we've seen some of these cases that we thought were infidelity cases were really people carrying out, it's a compulsion to reinforce it, like drinking or drugs. It's the same kind of compulsion to act in a certain way for personal gratification. In those cases, we start to look for use of drugs and alcohol, an increase, or start using a drug where you hadn't seen. And it ties in that same type of behavior. We also look at internet history. Because it's compulsion, people act strangely. Now, on my internet, I actually have to go to my mom and dad's internet. If you were to go to their web browser, you would see where they've been since they initially turned it on and plugged it on. Nobody cares about what their history is. But when people are going to illicit sites, they begin to act differently, and so they'll start trying to wipe out their history to try and hide that, not realizing that is itself another sign.
And what do you mean by unavailability? How's that a sign?
And this one tends to be more with the infidelity cases. You call your husband or your wife, your partner at work, and they don't want to come to the phone. Used to go out on Wednesday nights to go have ice cream. They don't want to do that anymore. Weekend events, they're suddenly busy and doing other things. They just become unavailable to work in the relationship.
Yeah. My advice to everyone is to not cheat, because these signs are pretty obvious.
Yeah, you would think so. You would think so.
But yet so many people do it. So if you suspect your significant other is cheating, tell us how the process works. What do you actually do for them?
Yeah, I would first suggest that someone go look at the site or the page that I had mentioned before. It's atlantisinvestigations.com, cheaters, on the cheaters page. You can either go there by the menu or just type in /cheaters. And there's a list of about 20-25 different elements that come up during cheating. And if you see a number of those, you might want to think, well, maybe I should call and talk to someone about it. There's also a couple of videos on there that you can watch, one from the man's perspective, another from the woman's perspective. But once you've gone through that and you want to talk to me, we have a number of different tools that we can use. GPS tracking in some cases. We use computer forensics. Sometimes we look to see the finances of if they're hiding money or they're trying to make expenses not be seen. So there's a lot of different tools depending on the situation.
And you can take pictures of them coming and going from a house? Or?
That is where it always ends up, is the surveillance. Everybody wants to have that final piece of proof, the picture. So surveillance in all situations is usually an element that a tool that we're gonna use.
And how would that tool benefit someone, let's say, in divorce proceedings?
It depends, again, on the situation. Now, remember, these aren't always divorce situations. A lot of times it's just relationships. Sometimes people are coming before they get married because they weren't quite sure. In a divorce case, it all depends upon what we find. If you're just cheating on someone before in a divorce, it might not be that big of a deal in a court case. But if it's just sexual addiction and there's children involved, that could be really important. It's something that needs to get treated.
Wow. Well, you are the expert, you are the pro, you know what to do. I know this is a sensitive subject, but it is one that exists, so I'm glad we're talking about it. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Phone call is always the best, I think. 559-478-8220. That's the office number. Talk to me for a few minutes about it and let me see if I can help you. When you come in, if you want to set up an appointment, come in. We'll provide an estimate. This is the one kind of, when I say this, I really mean it. Every case is different. What we can use and what we can do is going to be different in every case. So I'd like people to come in, let us give you an estimate, work with you on the costs.
Well, you're so friendly, you and your team. I know you're going to take care of folks, especially when it's dealing with tricky situations like this. So atlantisinvestigations.com for more info. And thanks again, Michael, for your expertise.
Oh, thanks for having me, Stephanie.
Thank you.